Hello and welcome to NewsClick. The Government of India has decided to move amendments in the General Insurance Business Nationalization Act, which will lead to privatization of the 4 general insurance companies. This will adversely affect the general public, which relies on the public sector general insurance companies and the recruitment in the future with mass privatization. To discuss more about this, we have with us Mr. Anand, the General Secretary of South Zone General Insurance Employees Association. Welcome, sir. So, to begin with, what are the provisions which you oppose in this act and what is the reason to oppose this act? Because the general insurance companies have a lot of role to play in the country and to the public.
Yeah, and now I want to say that the employees and officers in general insurance industry are on a war path. We have not waged the war. It is a war that is waged against us by the government of India. It is a war that is waged against the people of this country by the government of India. The government of India has decided to amend the General Insurance Business Nationalization Act 1972. The ordinance was passed in 1971 to nationalize 107 private insurance companies. There were 107 private insurance companies in the year 1971, and the government of India, then government of India, decided to nationalize because there are a lot of fraudulent activities that were taking place. Big corporate houses were operating in general insurance at that time. Tata was there, Birla was there, TVS was there. You name any company in India, big corporates in India, they were owning the company prior to 1971 also. They were indulging in a lot of fraudulent activities. That is why it was nationalized in 1971. These companies are also operating now after the liberalization policies and the market was opened up to the private insurance companies. They also started their operation in 2001 and they are also now in operation. But before 1971, because of the fraudulent activities, it was nationalized. Now an amendment has come. In 2015-16, they brought one amendment and said that after 1971, there are 4 companies were established. Out of the 107 companies, they made it as a 4 companies, public sector general insurance companies, and they were National Insurance Company, New India Assurance Company, Oriental Insurance Company, United India Insurance Company, headquartered at Kolkata, New India from Bombay, Oriental from Delhi, United India from Chennai. And now, 2016, they brought one amendment in that GIBNA Act. They made a small change in that act and brought a section 10B, which speaks of 51% holding of the government of India, and it talks that 49% can be sold out to the private parties. That is the first amendment that was brought in the GIBNA Act. So that paves way for the privatization of the public sector general insurance companies. So, but at that time itself, government said 51% should be with the government. Government stake should be at least 51%, and balance can be sold out. It should not be less than 51%. Now the amendment has come that the 10B class, which talks about 51% holding of the government, that is completely omitted. The section itself is taken away from the act. That means the government can sell 100% of the shares to the private insurance companies or to any corporate people. That is why we are opposing, because it is a total privatization, wholesale privatization aimed at selling all the 4 public sector general insurance companies as well as GIC reinsurance companies. That is why we are opposing it. The story before 1971 continues now also. Now 1 or 2 years back, big insurance companies, big private insurance companies like Reliance Health, L&T General, Apollo Munich have closed the doors and merged with the other private insurance companies. So the story continues. The story of pre-1971 continues now also.
What are the outcomes of this privatization move to the common public? Because these 4 are the general insurance companies, public sector companies. They have a lot of customers, and what will the impact on them?
See, actually, these general insurance companies are operating since 1971. Till 2000, when the private insurance market was open for the private insurance companies, there were a lot of schemes, social sector schemes, which we are giving free of cost. For example, if a person in a rural place, if he died due to a snake bite, or if he met with an accident, falling from a tree and other things, we used to pay 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees to the person, even though he did not pay any premium, 0 rupees. We did not collect any premium from them, just a declaration and certificate from the VOO. We will be paying some amount to the deceased family. Likewise, if an hut is burned or any fire accident took place, then we used to pay 5,000 rupees to the families. These are we paid it from our resources to the people, rural people, in order to bring them in the social state also. But now what is happening is, after 2000, we could not sustain these social sector policies because our hands are also tied, and we also want to compete with the private insurance companies. But after the private companies were allowed also, we could not function very independently. The government asked us to implement various social sector schemes, such as Prime Minister Suraksha Bima Yojana scheme, a scheme introduced by the Prime Minister of this country, current Prime Minister, who introduced this policy for a 12 rupees premium. If you have an account in the bank, any public sector bank or private sector bank, if you are an account holder, you have to just give a letter to the bank manager that I am interested to opt for this policy, Prime Minister Suraksha Bima Yojana policy, and you can debit 12 rupees from my account every year. A tea cost today, a glass of tea today costs 15 rupees to 20 rupees. Whereas a policy is given for 12 rupees per year and the sum insured is 2 lakh rupees. If the account holder dies due to an accident, the family gets 2 lakh rupees as a compensation. And this policy we have issued for 17 crore Indians of this country, 17 crore Indians who have the bank account, who are the account holders of various banks. And this is a very cheap policy, subsidized policy, and the claims ratio is around 350%. That means for 17 crores we collected 200 crores premium, but we are paying a claim of around 750 crores claim from our pocket. That means a huge loss for us. 350% is a huge loss for us. But
Is the government compensating for this?
No, zero compensation. The government is not paying even 1 rupee from their kitty to the general insurance companies. The private companies are not doing these policies. 92% of these policies are underwritten by the public sector general insurance companies and not the private insurance companies. The Ayushman Bharat, the government claimed that it is going to be a game changer in the 2019 election. The health insurance scheme that the government, with big advertisements in the newspaper, they introduced this Ayushman Bharat health insurance scheme. And today we are covering near about 40 crore people of this country through this health insurance scheme, and 95% of the scheme is covered by the public sector general insurance company. The private insurance companies are not participating. The crop insurance, Fasal Bima Yojana, the government, public sector general insurance companies are doing it. We are incurring huge loss in it. But we are happy that we are paying to our farmers. We are happy that we are paying to the peasants of this country who are already suffering because of the various enactments, acts that have been brought in. So we are happy that we are paying to our own farmers. But why the private companies are not doing it? Why the government is not pulling the private companies? The Corona warriors, the frontline workers policy that they introduced, 50 lakhs cover to the Corona warriors, frontline workers. We have already paid 1,000 claims. That means 500 crores have already been given to the Corona warriors. The private insurance companies are not doing it. And where do they spend? They spend huge amount. If you go and see the IRD account, public disclosure account of the private insurance companies, out of the total expenses, if it is 3,000 crores, around 1,600 crores, 1,700 crores is shown as marketing expenses, advertisement and publicity expenses. They are not spending for the subsidized schemes, social sector schemes. They have shown it as advertisement and publicity expenses. 3,000 crores, 50 to 60% advertisement publicity expenses. Whereas public sector insurance company, if you see the IRD report, out of the total expense of 3,000 crores, our advertisement publicity is 30 crores, 10 crores, 5 crores, just 1% or half a percent of the expenses, whereas they are spending 50% of their expenses for advertisement publicity. So there is huge scams that are taking place, huge irregularities that are taking place. We do not know what the regulator is doing, but we are concerned because this public sector general insurance company is providing cover to 50 crore of people of this country, ordinary people of this country. So this should be protected. That is why we are in the streets now. It is not the protection of job, it is not the protection of our salary. It is the protection of the insurance coverage for the ordinary people of this country. That is why we are worried more.
So that being said, in 1972 the bill became an act for nationalizing the general insurance company. This is the 50th anniversary of the nationalization. So exactly after 50 years, you are going back, a huge step. So what will be the impact of this on employment, as you said, and the future of the people who have subscribed to these insurance policies?
It will definitely have a direct impact on the employment of the general insurance industry. Because right now we are around 53,000 employees working in the 4 public sector general insurance companies. Last 3 years back we had a recruitment also. Now recruitment is stopped. Sensing this government anticipated this move, so they stopped recruitment in general insurance industry also. They are not going to recruit any new number of employees in the near future also. And number 2, a lot of people are there, unemployed people, we are not going to recruit them, number 1. Number 2, this IPO, if they say IPO, earlier they said 51% government holding will be there. when we said it is a privatization, they said no, it is not a privatization, it's public participation. They used a very good word that it is a public participation only, not privatization. But at that time, even at that time also, there was a guaranteed for the reservation and other things, because 51% was with the government and the public sector characteristic was not lost. It was an instrumentality of state at that time also. But now with the GIBNA Act amendment, 100% if you are going to sell the company means it will no longer be an instrumentality of state. Then where is the question of reservation? So where is the question of recruitment? All these things will definitely have a need. And as far as public are concerned, the public comes to the insurance company, public sector insurance company, for taking insurance of his cattle, his cow, his goat, a hen, a pig, everything from A to Z we are giving. And we have branches, 40% of our branches in rural areas. We have penetrated to the rural areas. We have 8,000 branches, 40% are in rural areas. The private insurance companies have only 2% of the branches in rural areas, and that too up to tier 4 only. We have branches up to tier 6 cities also, where the population is less than 5,000. Now if we close our offices, no private insurance companies will open a shop in population less than 5,000. No private insurance company is going to open an office in population in tier 5 cities or tier 4 cities. Then what will happen to the people there? Who will give the insurance coverage to them? They talk of digital, they talk of agency and other things. But what about the ordinary people who is owning just 2 pairs of cow or a goat or pig or sheep? Who will insure their crop? Who will insure their agriculture pump set? They are not comfortable with the internet and other things. So it is a very difficult job. So we are the people who are going to the rural areas. The government should consider this. The public sector general insurance companies have done yeoman service to the people of this country. So the government should they should have a rethink on this, and we are going to take up this issue with the public also, because they are going to lose the insurance. So we are going for very vigorous campaign among the publics, pamphlets distribution, street corner meetings, and we are going to mobilize a public opinion against this government move to privatize the public sector general insurance companies.
Thank you, sir, for joining us.